In today's video, we will be talking about 15 foods that are toxic to your dog. Why did avocados make it to our list? What's wrong with coffee grounds? Why is cinnamon pie bad for your dog? We will be talking about all of this and more. Here are 15 foods that are actually toxic to your dog. 1. Ice cream. Ice cream is a great way for both kids and adults to cool down on a hot summer day. If you're a dog owner, you've probably wondered if it's safe to give your dog ice cream. As an occasional, once-in-a-while treat, dogs can have ice cream but in a small amount. However, avoid feeding your dog chocolate-flavored ice cream because it contains caffeine, which can be toxic to dogs. As refreshing of a treat as ice cream is, it contains lots of sugar, so it is best not to share with your dog. Ice cream is very high in fat, which can lead to obesity and pancreatitis in dogs. Also, some dogs have an intolerance to lactose. Our advice is to avoid feeding your dog ice cream altogether. Rather freeze chunks of strawberries, raspberries, apples, and pineapples to give to your dog as a sweet, icy treat. 2. Garlic and onions. Dogs shouldn't eat garlic nor onions. Like leeks and chives, onion and garlic are part of the allium family, and they are 5 times more toxic to dogs than the rest of the allium plants. Garlic can create anemia in dogs, causing side effects such as pale gums, elevated heart rate, weakness, and collapse. Eating onions can cause your dog's red blood cells to rupture, and can also cause vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and nausea. Poisoning from onions is more serious in Japanese breeds of dogs like Akitas and Shiba Inus, but all dogs are very susceptible to it. Poisoning from garlic and onions may have delayed symptoms, so if you think your dog may have eaten some, monitor him or her for a few days, not just right after consumption. 3. Mushrooms. Mushroom is a fungus and contains toxins that can be poisonous to dogs. Many types of mushrooms are edible for humans but toxic to dogs, so never feed your dog any type of mushroom you find in the woods or at the grocery store. Wild mushrooms can be toxic for dogs. While only 50 to 100 of the 50,000 mushroom species worldwide are known to be toxic, the ones that are poisonous can really hurt your dog or even lead to death. Washed white mushrooms from the supermarket could be okay, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Skip the fungus for Fido altogether. If you're looking for an alternative to meat for your dog, there are plenty of great options like beans, grains, and vegetables that provide the nutrients your dog needs without the risk of poisoning him or her with mushrooms. 4. Asparagus. Asparagus is a healthy food that can be enjoyed by humans and dogs alike. However, it should not be fed to your dog in large quantities because it is rich in purines, which are harmful to dogs. When dogs eat foods high in purines, uric acid builds up in their blood instead of breaking down naturally as it does with most other foods. This can lead to gout or kidney failure if left untreated. While asparagus isn't necessarily unsafe for dogs, there's really no point in giving it to them. It's too tough to be eaten raw, and by the time you cook it down so it's soft enough for dogs to eat, asparagus loses the nutrients it contains. If you want to feed your dog some asparagus every once in a while or even regularly but only once a week or less often than that, then you should ensure that you stick to baby asparagus spears rather than adult ones because they contain far less purines than larger spears do. 5. Tomatoes. Tomatoes are not toxic to dogs, but they are a member of the nightshade family. This means they contain solanine, a toxic alkaloid that can cause gastrointestinal irritation and neurological issues if eaten in large quantities. While the ripened fruit of the tomato plant is generally considered safe for dogs, the green parts of the plant contain a toxic substance called solanine. While a dog would need to eat a large amount of the tomato plant to make him or her sick, it's better to skip tomatoes altogether just to be safe. 6. Grapes. Dogs should never eat grapes. Grapes and raisins, dried grapes, contain a toxin called solanine which can cause gastrointestinal distress, including vomiting and diarrhea. Grapes have proved to be very toxic for dogs no matter the dog's breed, sex, or age. Also, grapes and raisins contain a toxin called galactose alpha-1 or alpha-gal. The toxin also exists in red meat, So if you're feeding your dog a raw diet of beef or pork, this could be an issue as well. In fact, grapes are so toxic that they can lead to acute sudden kidney failure. Always be mindful of this dangerous fruit for dogs. 7. Cherries. Cherries are rich in antioxidants and fiber. This makes them good for digestion, but they also help prevent cancer and heart disease by fighting free radicals in the body that can damage cells. Cherries also contain melatonin, which helps regulate sleep patterns, so that's another benefit. However, cherry pits contain cyanide-producing compounds, so you must be careful about giving too many to your dog or leaving them unattended with cherry pits in reach. Cyanide disrupts cellular oxygen transport, which means that your dog's blood cells can't get enough oxygen. The rule of thumb is 1 or 2 whole cherries per 10 pounds of weight per day for healthy adults and half that amount for puppies or pregnant females. Be on the lookout for dilated pupils, difficulty breathing, and red gums, as these may be signs of cyanide poisoning. So though cherries are delicious and with some benefits, you should prevent giving cherries to your dogs altogether. If you're going to give your dog some few fresh cherries, make sure you remove all seeds from the fruit first, as these are dangerous to your pooch. 8. Avocado. While avocado is a nutritious healthy snack for dog owners, it should not be given to dogs at all. There are risks associated with feeding your dog avocados that you should know about before considering it as a treat or mealtime snack. The pit, skin, and leaves of avocados contain pectin, a toxin that often causes vomiting and diarrhea in dogs. The fleshy inside of the fruit doesn't have as much pectin as the rest of the plant, but it is still too much for dogs to handle. If you still choose to give Fido some avocados, a little bit once in a while is fine, but don't give them an avocado every day or they may develop diarrhea from eating too much fiber. 9. Almonds. Almonds are a healthy food that many people enjoy, but they can be dangerous for dogs. Almond poisoning occurs when dogs ingest the nut itself or from human food products like peanut butter or chocolate candies made with almonds. Salted almonds are especially dangerous because they can increase water retention, which is potentially fatal to dogs prone to heart disease. Almonds block the esophagus or even tear the windpipe if not chewed completely. Dogs have been known to suffer from vomiting and diarrhea after eating almonds. Some dogs have become severely ill after eating even small amounts of almonds. Almond toxicity can affect any dog at any age, but it is most common in young puppies and senior dogs. You should always check with your veterinarian before giving your dog almonds. 10. Chocolate. Chocolate is not safe for dogs to eat. Chocolate contains caffeine and a substance called theobromine, which can be toxic to dogs. Theobromine is a compound found in cacao seeds and cocoa, as well as other foods made from these ingredients. Chocolate contains more than 30 times the amount of theobromine than unsweetened cocoa powder. The darker the chocolate, the more toxic it is to dogs. White chocolate contains no theobromine and therefore is safe for dogs if they consume small amounts of it. Theobromine acts like caffeine in the body by stimulating the central nervous system and heart rate. It also dilates blood vessels and relaxes smooth muscle tissue, the kind found in blood vessels and organs. These effects are what cause humans to feel excited when they eat chocolate. However, because dogs have a much faster metabolism than humans do, they can't handle these effects as well. Chocolate also contains fat and sugar, which can throw off your dog's digestive system when eaten in large quantities. Dogs who consume too much sugar may experience diarrhea, vomiting, increased urination, restlessness, possibly death. 11. Cinnamon. While cinnamon is not actually toxic to dogs, it's probably best to avoid it. Cinnamon can cause serious health problems in dogs because it contains salicylates and coumarin. These substances can cause gastrointestinal upset in dogs, but they also affect blood pressure and blood coagulation, clotting, in some animals. It can lower a dog's blood sugar too much and can lead to diarrhea, vomiting, increased or decreased heart rate, and even liver disease. Cinnamon and its oils can irritate the inside of dogs' mouths, making them uncomfortable and sick. If dogs inhale it in powder form, cinnamon can cause difficulty breathing, coughing, and choking. Cinnamon is not recommended for puppies under 12 weeks old because they may develop subcutaneous granuloma. Subcutaneous granuloma are small lumps on the skin that form when the body reacts to something it considers foreign. 12. Macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts are toxic to dogs and should not be offered as a treat. Although no one knows exactly what is the reason behind the toxicity of these particular nuts, we do know that even small quantities are dangerous for your canine friend. Some scientists suspect it may be due to a toxin called hyperglycin A found in the seeds. Macadamia nuts are high in calories, which means they're not the best choice for weight control in dogs. They also contain fats that can become rancid if exposed to air or light over time. If this happens, it can cause stomach upset or even pancreatitis in dogs who eat them. If your dog accidentally ingests some of these nuts, seek veterinary advice straight away. Fortunately, with the right treatment, your dog has a great chance of making full recovery. 13. Coffee grounds. Dogs are more sensitive to the effects of caffeine than people are. While 1 to 2 laps of coffee, tea, or soda will not contain enough caffeine to cause poisoning in most pets, the ingestion of moderate amounts of coffee grounds, tea bags, or 1 to 2 diet pills can easily cause death in small dogs or cats. Coffee grounds contain caffeine, which can cause vomiting and diarrhea in dogs. The amount of caffeine varies by the type of coffee bean and how long it was roasted, so you may have to experiment to find out exactly how much is safe for your pet. If you are not sure, consult your vet. Coffee grounds also contain tannins that may cause gastrointestinal irritation and liver damage if consumed in large amounts over time. 14. Bread dough. Bread isn't good for dogs. It contains no nutritional value for them and it's full of carbohydrates too, so if you give too much bread to dogs it can cause them to gain weight. Uncooked bread dough can be hazardous for dogs. Interestingly, their stomachs offer the ideal conditions for dough to rise, and when they eat it, it expands and distends their stomach, as well as releasing toxic levels of ethanol into their bloodstream, which can lead to alcohol toxicosis. Do not feed your dog uncooked bread dough, and contact your vet immediately if your dog has ingested any. Our advice would be to avoid feeding your dog bread. While it's fine in small doses as a snack, it offers no benefit to your dog, and in some cases, bread contains ingredients which can be hazardous. Instead, opt to feed healthy dog treats such as fresh vegetables and cooked lean meat instead. 15. Gum mint, alcohol, jams, honey and syrups, toothpaste, and mouthwash. Gum mint, alcohol, jams, honey and syrups, toothpaste, and mouthwash all contain a substance called xylitol, an artificial sweetener which is highly dangerous, and even fatal, if consumed by a dog. Xylitol causes an insulin release in the body that leads to a drop in blood sugar, hypoglycemia. It also causes liver failure and seizures. The dog may experience vomiting and diarrhea initially, but later will develop lethargy and weakness. Severely affected dogs may become comatose and die within 12 hours of ingestion. Look for these key warning signs if your dog has consumed any food containing xylitol. Depression or lethargy, incoordination, drooling, vomiting or retching, weakness, collapse, decreased respiratory rate, hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, hypertension, low blood pressure, hypothermia, low body temperature. If your dog does accidentally consume alcohol, it's hard to know whether the amount consumed is at dangerous levels. The health and weight of the dog in relation to the type and volume are both variables to consider. For example, for toy breeds a smaller amount of alcohol would be considered as dangerous than for larger breeds. The amount of ethanol needed to cause intoxication varies depending on its concentration in the substance ingested. The published oral lethal dose in dogs is 5.5 to 7.9 g/kg of 100% ethanol. You cannot completely control your pet's environment and what they consume, but education and awareness is the best start for keeping your dog healthy. Did you know about the dangers of feeding these foods to dogs? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to share this video with your dog-owning friends and spread the love.